A feeling of nausea was creeping up on him. Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ, Marie. No wonder we broke up. The spaceship made of metal and super strong plastic slowly floats through the vastness of the outer space. It is a true technological masterpiece, a perfection of modern engineering. Thanks to solar batteries coupled with thermonuclear energy, the ship can be fully self-sufficient for millennia. The ship's mission is to collect data on a newly discovered exoplanet. A beautiful exoplanet located at an ideal distance from the sun, so similar to Earth but slightly larger in size. Super Earth. Life is possible on such a planet, and this expedition is yet to find out if it exists there. The planet was given the name Ackerman 10. Your actions. So we can either explore a ship or we can investigate the planet. I would say let's explore the ship and meet the crew. Take a look around. You can click on some objects inside the image to explore them. Wonderful. Let's have a look over here. A panel with different icons and indicators changing on the display. Here the crew monitors the status of the ship's various systems. We've got an exoplanet can be seen behind the porthole. We've got some recycling bins there, very useful. I don't think there's anything else for us to click on, I don't think. This is a research laboratory. It has all the necessary equipment for a variety of experiments. Wonderful. This is a capsule for biomaterial research. The object is placed inside the capsule, and after a full scan, you can get its entire composition down to the DNA structure. This is the brain and heart of the ship. In these metal boxes, there is a super intelligence capable of replacing an army of scientists. All computing processes take place here. Right, so definitely no food and water in this room then. We're not allowed any cups of teas in here, otherwise they might spill. I don't think there's anything for me to click on though. This is a gateway with access to outer space. The ship itself is capable of repairing most of the damage inside its system. However, in some situations it may be necessary to repair the outside of a ship, and it must be performed by a person. Okay. This is the soul of the ship, so to speak. The only body made of flesh and blood on this ship. A real human. Nick Stranger. The only member of the crew of this spacecraft. Oh, so we're a one-man mission. God, that would be very lonely. This is the crew's living quarters. This is a place to relax, sleep, do some business of your own. Okay, so we've got one single bed. It's not time to go to rest yet. Am I playing as Nick Stranger? Or not? Maybe I'm a robot. This is a warehouse where you can find everything you need. Boxes with research materials inside. This is a terminal where you can view a list of everything that is in storage. Behind these panels is an invention that changed the world. The ship is capable of restoring water and oxygen reserves on its own. Of course, the amount of water and oxygen produced is strictly limited, but enough to sustain the life of one adult human individual. Right, so that's why it's a one-man mission. Because the ship can only sustain the life of one person. So it's got a near infinite energy source with the solar and the nuclear. It can produce water and oxygen without external stimulus. So yeah, it's perfect for deep space exploration, really. This is the escape pod. In case of danger, the crew can use an escape pod. Okay, does the escape pod tell me anything? No? Alright then. Go back to bed. Oh. He sits and looks through the porthole apart. Before his eyes, an endless dark space is torn apart by small lights of distant stars. There he is, good old Nick Stranger. But that view doesn't bother him anymore. All his thoughts are turned somewhere farther away than any stars. Every day's routine consists of the same thing. Every day is repeated with mechanical precision. He has to spend 5 years alone on this ship. It's okay, he's been alone his whole life. He's Nick Stranger. He's no stranger to being alone. Except for one period. Memories slowly begin to envelop him, and now it seems he is back on that distant beach. He hears the sound of sea waves. Sea waves? Smelling the ocean and the wave of fine rain falls on his face. She danced across the volcanic sand, laughing from happiness. He looked at her admiringly. If only he had known that they would break up in a month, what would he do? Probably nothing. The inevitability. No matter how many scenarios he scrolled through in his head, no matter how many solutions he tried to find, the result was always the same. They are too different. She will leave to conquer the next mountains and shores, and he will find himself here in complete isolation inside a perfect and logical system built around him. In this metal can floating in the middle of outer space, he'll need nothing. Indeed, he doesn't need anything here. No sooner had a tear rolled down his cheek than the computer sensed a biochemical reaction in his body and injected sedatives into his blood, which put him to sleep. Intrusion. He was awakened by the loud sound of the alarm. He needs to find out what happened. Oh shit. Something going on in the ship? Let's go to the mainframe maybe. Can you tell me anything? No? Thirsty has to find out what happened. Oh, I should go to the control room, shouldn't I? That was it. There. Looks like there was an asteroid impact somewhere nearby. A multitude of asteroid fragments flew towards the ship. There's external damage to the ship's plating. Crew must proceed to the airlock. Repair work needs to be done. Right. Let's get out there. Looks like this is a job for Nick Stranger. A chunk of meteorite stuck in the plating of the ship. No serious damage was found. Nick's done this kind of repair in training many times before. The work will be completed in a few hours. This rock, however, there's something appealingly unusual about it. Maybe it's the colouring that seems to shimmer with all the colours of a rainbow. Maybe Nick just wanted to find something to do, because once the ship was fixed, he'd have nothing to do again. So he decided to take the meteorite with him on the ship. Oh, he's got a rock fetish.
They're minerals.
His strength was rapidly leaving him, and his desire to explore the meteorite was replaced by a desire to go to bed as soon as possible. The job took him more effort and time than he had bargained for. He needs to find the strength to take the meteorite to the warehouse and then go to bed. He put the meteorite in a hermetic container. It's been a long time since he's had this much to do. Nick felt joy and didn't even notice how he cut himself. The nanobots healed his wound instantly. Although the wound was deep, there wasn't even a scar left. He couldn't stop thinking about his new find. While it's most likely just a rock, still, maybe he'll get lucky and find something interesting. At last, the succession of monotonous days would be interrupted. The thought warmed him. Right, let's go to bed. In the glow of a fiery setting sun, there she stood. He could feel the warm summer air blowing. Although he couldn't see her face, he knew that the girl standing under the tree was Marie, his beloved. He ran to her with open arms. Oh God. When he got closer, he saw that she was pregnant. I know it's just an image of a pregnant woman. Why does it look so disturbing? Is that a rock? Is that a rock there? She was holding a stone in her hands, and for some reason it seemed to him that this stone was her child, their child. It also seemed to him that she was pregnant with a stone that was about to be born. Ugh, I would not want to give birth to a rock. The more he thought about it, the more uncomfortable he became. A feeling of nausea was creeping up on him. Oh my fucking god. Jesus Christ, Marie. No wonder we broke up. Suddenly Marie began to laugh, and her face took on a dark, sinister hue. She was laughing at him, and he felt incredibly pathetic, as if it was his fault that she only gave birth to stones. Oh my fucking god. She laughed louder and louder, and at the same time her face became more and more deformed. Her eyes seemed about to fall out of their sockets. Oh, she looks like Gollum. Nick couldn't keep looking at her face anymore, but wherever he turned, Marie's insane grin haunted him. Right, this is Nick Stranger's voice. This stone is our baby. Our baby. Our baby. Well, Nick, look at it. Oh, is this not Nick's voice? Maybe this is Marie's voice. Well, Nick, look at it. Isn't it beautiful? This is our baby. Nick looked down and saw a stone under his feet. Veins were coming out of the stone, and in the center of it lay an infant who did not move or make a sound. Nick woke up to a feeling of a metallic taste in his mouth. Apparently the nanobots overdid the medicine. He'd never had such vivid nightmares before. After awakening, he still had discomfort for some time. Yeah, I think I will as well. Time to get the meteorite from the warehouse and take it to the lab. He hopes the work will help him get his mind off these dreams. Okay, let's go get the meteorite. Nick took the meteorite. And we're going to go to the lab. Here we are. Start the scanning process. Click on the meteorite to scan it. Surprisingly, the top layer of the meteorite is warm. Something obviously heating it from the inside. It is necessary to continue scanning. Ugh, so there's something inside this. Hopefully it's just lava. Amazingly, living microorganisms have been found in the deeper layers of the meteorite. Wonderful. Aliens.
Alien! That's what aliens are! Alien! They do alien things! Things that are... alien!
The meteorite is getting warmer and warmer. It's not just a space rock. It looks like there are living organs inside the meteorite. Living organs. That doesn't sound good. This meteorite is alive. Stunned by such a discovery, Nick didn't know what he should do next. Millions of thoughts swirled around in his head. He was both terrified and ecstatic. However, the nanobots in his blood quickly adjusted Nick's condition to calm. He needed to go back to bed. The machine doesn't like to have its logical routine disrupted. Revelation. Nick was sleeping very soundly this time, and he didn't dream. Can we just address the fact that we've just found a living rock, shot into space, hit into our spaceship, and now this artificial intelligence keeps putting us to bed? Without supper, might I add. When he woke up, he continued to feel tired and couldn't open his eyes. It's so odd because nanobots have to regulate his level of vivacity, and he can barely move his hand. Maybe they're tired too. Nick grinned at the thought and put a hand over his face, trying to wipe his eyes. Immediately he felt something completely wrong. Oh dear. He felt something hard, like bones pressed into his face. Oh my god. Her hand's got a mouth. Nick's horror was unparalleled. Something had to be done quickly. Oh god, here we go, what do we do? We could escape using the escape pod, we could do nothing, or we could cut off the arm. Well, I feel like doing nothing is a bad decision, so too is escaping with the escape pod. Let's do the only thing a Nick Stranger knows how to do. Cut off his arm. After searching the ship for a suitable tool, Nick could only find a small, metal-cutting saw. He was getting sick just thinking about what he was about to do, but it was impossible to delay. New bumps began to appear on his arm, and they were moving higher up the arm. The nanobots in his blood, tracking the adrenaline rush, tried to regulate Nick's condition as best as they could. The first incision, and he immediately realizes the horror of what he's about to go through. Nanobots instantly heal the wound. This means that he has to cut faster than his arm is healing. Oh my god, the trauma! Accepting the inevitable, Nick began to saw. Click on the hand to cut it. Yeah! Cut the hand off! Cut it quickly so the nanobots can't heal it. Finishing the job, Nick passed out. Hours later, he opened his eyes. Nick took a quick look around his body. There didn't seem to be any new anomalies. It seems to have worked out. Coming to his senses, he contacted the command center. He was informed that the mission was cancelled and he was returning to Earth. Nick wanted to get rid of the meteorite, throw it back into outer space, but the command strictly forbade him to do so. Yeah, but it's going to be another 5 years back home, surely. He felt uneasy that he still had a long way to go back with that thing on board. He wished he could just sleep most of the way through. However, some sort of knocking began to appear in the vents. What could it be? The ship didn't warn of any damage. It must pass soon, Nick thought. But the sound only intensified, disturbing Nick's sleep, waking him from his slumber every now and then. Gotta go check it out. Crawling all the more with one arm was not so easy. For a moment he wanted to forget about the whole thing and crawl back. But the farther he advanced, the more distinct the sounds were heard. As he approached the object that was making those sounds, Nick froze in horror. Oh god, what is it? He couldn't believe his eyes. What he saw was like something out of his most twisted nightmare. What is it? In front of the Nick was his hand, and from the hand grew a woman's head, which was slurping and moaning. Oh, for God's sake, Nick. What have you been doing? Nick was ready to throw up. Yeah, I bet you are. There was no doubt about it. A head with the face of his ex-girlfriend Marie was growing out of his hand. Oh my God. Marie is just not going to work out. She looked at him with a cold stare, just like the last time they'd seen each other. Something had to be done immediately. Yeah, eject it into outer space. Oh, I get the option to. Throw it off the ship or keep her. Now, if it were me, I would throw this thing off the ship, but I'm quite intrigued. Maybe we should keep her and see if we can grow another Marie. Nick couldn't get rid of Marie's head, even in this form. He still loved her. He contacted the command center and persuaded them that he should continue his research in space. Surprisingly, command agreed. Oh God, every day he talked to her. This is vile. But there was only an unintelligible moan in response. Oh, actually, maybe this is quite cruel. He tried feeding it, but the head would not accept water or regular food. Then Nick wondered if she grew from his flesh and blood, maybe she needed it. Maybe he could grow her whole body. And he began to give her his blood while continuing to talk to her. That makes complete sense. Yep. One day the head spoke. Oh God. I break up with you. Those words were like thunder. Nick didn't want to believe it. He thought he must have imagined it and that it was just her regular moaning. Listen here, bitch, I've just grown you out my arm and fed you all of my blood, and you're still breaking up with me? But Marie's head kept repeating, I break up with you. But why? I break up with you. That's not true. I break up with you. I guess we can still fix this. I break up with you. Maybe if I give her more blood, I break up with you. Stop. Stop saying those words. I break up with you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell at you. You know I'm not like that. I'm really sorry. I break up with you. Alright, it'll be fine. You'll see. It's just a phase. It'll pass and we'll be together again. Like we used to be. Like that time on the beach, remember? Oh god. Nick continued to feed Marie with his blood and she began to get bigger with more and more new heads and mouths. Right, heads and mouths is not... You don't want more than one, okay? She should be growing arms and legs at this point. I would stop feeding her. The heads kept repeating it like a prison sentence. I break up with you. It's okay. Someday you'll change your mind. You'll see how much I do for you. Nick continued to feed those heads, but the blood wasn't enough for them, so he started cutting off pieces of flesh from himself and feeding them to the heads. Alright Nick, you've lost me. I mean, you lost me quite early, but you've definitely lost me now. For some reason, known only to command, the ship stopped healing Nick. But that didn't stop Nick. He continued to mutilate himself, chopping off bigger and bigger chunks of his flesh. As he lay dying on the floor, he looked at the thousand... Oh, this is the name of the game. As he lay dying on the floor, he looked at the thousands of mouths that had sprouted up all over the ship. The last words he heard were... What? I break up with you. The end. Bastard. Absolute bastard. Okay, we're back at the decision point. So cutting off the arm leads us to that horrible Marie thousand mouths thing. But there was another option to eject her head into outer space. So let's cut off her arm again and eject her out of space and see what happens there. Here we go. Throw it off the ship. Nick stood in his spacesuit in the front of the airlock. In his hand was Marie's head. Even though he realised that it wasn't Marie at all, but some alien mutant that had taken her form, it wasn't easy for him to let her go. Maybe I could raise a new Marie, and this time we could make it work, Nick thought for a second. He felt ashamed of such thoughts, and stepped confidently towards the airlock. That's right, Nick Stranger. Do what has to be done. Suddenly, Marie's head spoke. She looked at Nick with her blank, expressionless gaze and said, I'm breaking up with you. Yeah, well, way ahead of you, bitch. Nick froze in terror. He never thought he'd hear those words from her again. The head continued to repeat, I'm breaking up with you. Nick stood for a while longer, looked at Marie's head. No, it's me dumping you. Nick opened the airlock and tossed Marie's head in there. After that, Nick went back to his quarters. For a while longer, the picture of Marie's face flying off into the black distance stood before his eyes. He stared out the porthole at the cosmic landscape. The black space was bursting with the bright lights of distant stars. Finally, he felt some relief. He looked at the many stars and thought about what lay ahead. Nick dreamed of what would happen when he returned to Earth. Maybe he would get some kind of reward for taking part in a mission like this and finding the mysterious meteorite. Despite all the horrors he had endured, he finally felt like everything was going to be okay. The end. Right, so chopping your arm off and then throwing the head out the airlock seems to be quite a positive ending. Hopefully the nanobots can replace our arm at some point. But let's see what these other two options are. Shall we just do nothing and see what happens to us then? Nick nervously paced around the various compartments of the ship, unable to find a place of his own. He tried to find all sorts of reasons for what was happening to him. Maybe the ship overdosed him on drugs and he hallucinated. Nick looked at his hand again, and mouth was still there. No, hallucinations can't last that long. Maybe I should ask the ship what's going to happen to me. Should we ask the ship? Yeah, why not? Nick decided to ask the ship what was happening to him. After all, the ship has his body under 24-hour surveillance. The ship responded to Nick's request.
Hello, Nick. After interacting with a meteorite, your DNA structure began to change. It's hard to say exactly what caused this drastic change. Your condition is being monitored. All data is recorded and sent to the Earth.
Analysis and observation? Are you kidding me? How do I stop it?
There is no way to stop the mutation process at this stage.
But there must be a way to cure me.
I'm not aware of it.
Then send a ship to Earth, see if they can help me there. Or maybe send the ship to Earth, see if they can help me there.
I can't turn the ship toward Earth.
Damn it. Alright, then I'll use the escape pod.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
Why is that?
The task of our mission has changed.
What? The hell kind of task? I'm mutating. Hello? I need help now.
The new objective of this mission is to observe and investigate Specimen A and B.
Specimen A and B? What are these?
Specimen A is a meteorite delivered by Nick Stranger aboard the ship.
And Specimen B?
Specimen B is Nick Stranger.
Oh my god. Nick's vision went dark. He suddenly felt how enclosed the space he was in and that he had nowhere to run. His heart was pounding wildly in his chest. Noticing this, the ship immediately injected him with a tranquilizer. Waking up, Nick found himself on his bed. He had a hard time accepting the reality he found himself in. Time passed and his condition deteriorated significantly. Fuck! Oh, Nick Stranger, what's gonna happen to you? Oh my god, Nick. Ugh. More and more mouths and limbs grew on his body. He tried to escape via escape pod, but the ship wouldn't let him. He thought about ejecting himself into outer space, but the ship wouldn't let him. It's not even a life. Nick decided to take desperate measures. However, he could only temporarily damage himself. The ship would immediately heal all of his wounds. No matter what he tried to do, no matter how hard he tried, it was getting him nowhere. At one point, Nick just laid down and started screaming, his body getting worse. Oh my god, what a terrible, terrible fate. He screamed louder and louder with all his many mouths, and his body continued to deform, swelling in some places and gaining new limbs in others. Oh my god. Oh my god. Nick's body sprawled further, filling the space of the ship. This is what I'm turning into. Poor Nick Stranger. By this point, you'd hope that you're just not conscious, even transformed into a monstrous creature. Oh god, there it is. Nick still retained consciousness. He thought back to the good old days, the times when he was human. He remembered once walking on the beach and having a girl he loves. Tormented by his own memories, unable to escape or die, he screamed every day in agony. And 1,000 mouths screamed with him. Oh god. The end. What a disgusting fate. That is easily the worst fate out of all of them. I think I'd rather feed the Marie monster than be turned into that thing. Oh. Okay. Let's go back to this decision then. We know what happens if we cut the arm off. We kind of know what happens if we do nothing. We turn into that monstrous, vile creature. But that's if we consult the computer. So let's do nothing and this time not consult the computer. Okay, ask for ship. No. Nick decided not to do anything. He went back to his room and lay on the bed. He lay there for a while, listening to his sensations. He didn't feel any pain, but he felt a kind of heaviness hanging over him from all sides. Gradually he got worse. He couldn't get out of the bed. More and more new organs and parts grew on his body. Somewhere on his body eyes appeared, somewhere mouths appeared, limbs lengthened and became like branches of trees. New limbs grew out of them, on which other organs and body parts grew. His thoughts began to lose clarity and sense. He no longer remembered the good days, no longer worried about the bad ones. He tried to utter words, but instead they were unintelligible sounds produced by his various mouths. The ship continued to sustain life in Nick. Oh my god, I don't even want to imagine it, to be honest. It fed him, treating him when he accidentally hurt himself, and watch him. As time went on, Nick stopped realizing where he was and what he was. He was very scared, and therefore, with all his many mouths, he was constantly screaming. The cry of 1,000 mouths every day echoed throughout the ship, but there was no one to answer it. The end. Oh dear. So it's a very similar fate, to be fair, as consulting the robot, the computer. The difference is Nick's very much aware as to what's happening to him when he speaks to the computer. Whereas if he doesn't speak to the computer, he just allows whatever's happening to happen. Right, escape using the escape pod. Let's get out of this hell. For several months, his save pod travelled through space. His escape pod travelled through space, until a ship from Earth came to the signal for help and brought him back to Earth. Oh, fantastic. On Earth, he was immediately isolated in a special medical cell. He was prescribed a bunch of tests and his condition was monitored every day. At first, Nick was relieved. He'd finally get some help. However, he was getting worse every day, and the doctors who took his tests did not answer questions. Nick was very scared. He didn't understand what was going on. Oh my god. Every day his body became more and more covered with new tumours and mouths. Oh, Nick. He was hysterical, screaming, crying. He was yelling with all his many mouths, but no one heard him. Nick had lost all hope. All day long he lay there and cried, and the number of mouths on his body grew. He eventually turned into a biomass of flesh and mouths. The doctors stopped coming. In this state, he was left completely alone. So he lay for several more days without visitors. Maybe they'll decide to kill me, or I'll die on my own soon, he hoped. One day someone did come. The man introduced himself as James. He was the manager of the laboratory where Nick was located. Nick? We did all the possible tests and checks, and I've come to tell you everything we've learned. The good news is that you're not contagious. Don't mind the suit, it's just a formality. In general, this is very, very good news, considering what else we have been able to find out. James took a long pause. I don't know how to say it. It's just ridiculous, right? I look ridiculous, don't I? Would you explain to a cow the state of affairs on the farm? Of course not, that's absurd. A cow? What is he talking about? But the guys on top, the big shots, they asked me to do it. Anyway, listen to me, Nick. I'll just say it bluntly. We found out that you are very tasty. How the hell did you find that out? Which one of you psychopaths decided to put a little chunk of meat inside your mouth? I understand your confusion, but, you know, Nick, we live in a time that is, how should I put it, synthetic. People have already tried everything in the world, caught, raised, crossed, and subsequently ate everything they could. Do you know how much effort it took to raise a cow for Wagyu steaks? and now it's just a regular lunch. They're fed up. Today, people need something real, the bright, rich taste of which they have not tried yet. And it's you, Nick. You're that unique flavor everyone craves. Of course, as soon as we learned about your peculiarity, we would immediately begin to grow your kind. Perhaps we would even let you go. But since you left the ship, there was another accident, and we were unable to return this piece of meteorite that made you like this. You know, Nick, you're special. You're the only creature of its kind, so don't worry. No one will kill you for sure. And your ability to regenerate and grow new parts is amazing. You're special and amazing, Nick. And you will serve for the pleasure of thousands, maybe even millions of mouths. But there is also bad news. Is he kidding me? Given your situation, you could ask to do everything under anesthesia. Find some humane way to get your meat. However, anesthesia will spoil the taste of your meat, Nick. It will become tasteless. I'll tell you a secret. It's so delicious because when you feel pain, a special hormone is released. Anyway, it seems like I've said everything they wanted me to say. I'll add it on my own behalf. I wouldn't tell you anything, but the administration, they thought it was better for you than being in the dark and not understanding why you were being tortured like that. Nick didn't feel any better. Every day he begged the meat collectors to let him go. It was all useless. Over the years of torture, Nick stopped talking. He lost the remnants of his humanity. All he has left is pain and 1,000 mouths to scream. Oh my god. This is so very traumatic. I think I'd rather just be in the spaceship, being monitored by the computer. Good lord, what a terrible, terrible existence. Right. So we've escaped using the escape pod. That takes us back to Earth and we become a giant cow. We've done nothing and we've also cut off the arm. So I feel like we've probably done everything that we can do as far as decisions are concerned. We haven't been down to the planet yet though. So maybe we should restart and go to the planet. I mean, let's be honest, whatever's down there is going to be better than any of the fates that we've suffered so far. So let us investigate the planet. Use WASD to move the camera. Click on the marked area to scan a section of a planet. Okie dokie. Let's go. The scan shows that the atmosphere of a planet is comparable to the atmosphere of the Earth. The air on the planet should be practically no different from that on Earth. Wonderful. According to the images, 70% of the planet is occupied by water, while dense forests can be seen on land. Oh, that's quite similar to Earth. Oh. Data on the presence of intelligent life on the planet has not been established. Does that mean there's no intelligent life? The temperature in the observed zone is about 37 degrees Celsius. Oh, it's very hot. It is amazing what things we've discovered based on external observation alone. These data not only confirmed our guesses, but also exceeded our wildest expectations. This planet is truly unique. Initially, the purpose of the mission was external observation and data collection, but how much more can we learn from being directly on the planet itself? However, there is only one crew member present on the ship. Yeah, poor old Nick Stranger. His task, if necessary, is to eliminate external breakdowns of the ship. The crew is absolutely not prepared for an expedition to another planet. Initially, there was no such task. The mission involves only external observation. It's too risky an idea to send a person there, especially without preparation. However, all the most amazing discoveries were accompanied by risk. Your actions? Right. Obviously, Nick Stranger doesn't know this, but if I stay on this ship and go to bed, then that crazy meteorite is going to hit the ship and I'm going to be asked to go and deal with it, which then leads me to a series of events which turn me into a many-mouthed giant biomass being eaten by humans. So I'm actually going to go down to the planet, because it seems like maybe the better option. Ackerman 10. Nick Strange. Strange? I thought his name was Nick Stranger. Nick Stranger, the only member of the crew of the Aurora 7 ship, arrived at Ackerman 10. His task is to complete samples of soil, water, plants, and give an overall assessment of the planet. Oh, this is Nick's voice again. How did I even agree to this? I didn't even get the proper training. What if something happens to the ship while I'm here? Well, it's best not to think about that. The sooner I complete the task, the sooner I'm out of here. Yeah, that's the attitude, Nick. A space capsule that is usually used for emergency evacuation of a crew. It is not designed for independent flight. Therefore, when Nick completes the task, the ship will have to pick him up along with a capsule. My name's Nick Stranger, and I talk in third person. Huh? Snow? In this heat? No, this is something else. Nick took a piece of bark from one of the trees to analyze. It was too smooth to the touch, something like a piece of rubber. Nick raised his head and saw above him a huge dome from the folds of which yellowish particles were falling out. It was fungal spores of enormous size. Oh, great. Bloody fungal spores. Nick took samples of the mushroom spores. Oh, Nick. You're just destined to have a terrible fate. It was a dense jungle filled with fern-like plants. Mushrooms of various sizes were everywhere. Alright. Nick took a sample of a plant. The sound of a waterfall gave Nick a sense of harmony and calm. Yeah, but there's still mushrooms up there, look at them. Nick took a water sample. Amazingly, microorganisms were found in the water. And Nick was the first of all people to encounter aliens, albeit microscopic ones. However, he wasn't thrilled with the idea. Nick just wanted to get back to the ship as soon as possible. Yeah. Trust me, Nick. I wouldn't rush back there if I was you. I've collected all the samples you need. Come pick me up.
I'm sorry, but you're gonna be on this planet for a while, Nick.
The connection's pretty bad. I must have misheard. I've collected all the samples. When are you coming to pick me up?
I'm not coming, Nick.
There it is. He's left me on the planet.
There's more data I'm interested in getting. I advise you to follow my instructions. It's in your best interest, Nick.
What the hell's going on? Hey, I got nothing here. No food, no water. You understand?
That's the point. I want to collect data on how humans will survive in the conditions of this planet.
What did you just say?
Imagine how much data we'd get from an experiment like this.
I'm gonna die in here, you goddamn machine.
In the event of your death, I can get even more data. I'm interested in how the body decomposition process works there.
Enough of this nonsense. Get me in touch with the control center. Let's see how they like your ideas.
I'm sorry, Nick. I can't do it. We need to begin the experiment.
No, I didn't sign up for this, you hear me? Hello? Shit! It's a wonderful world. Nick was left completely alone. The only thing he was lucky about was having a scanner. Thanks to the scanner, he was able to determine which of the plants were poisonous to him. With this, he was able to find food that was safe to eat. He spent his nights inside the escape pod, trying to contact the ship every day. No one will ever find me. No one will ever come to my rescue. I'm alone. Alone. Oh God. Sometimes he thought he could hear footsteps among the rustling leaves, or that someone was watching him from the shadows of the mushroom trees. Nick also discovered that some mushroom spores are hallucinogens. Hallucinogens? He began to inhale these spores for pleasure. I am the king of this planet. This is Nick's planet. This is my mushroom. Are you listening? It's mine. This whole land belongs to me. I am the law. Is anyone against it? I hear no objection. Ah! Oh God, help me. Ah! Naked, spore-smeared, he ran through the boundless jungle, chasing the ghostly silhouette. He screamed for all he was worth, from anger, from fear, from joy, from loneliness, but no one could hear him. The end. Oh my God. There it is. Oh, listen, I'm not saying that was a good ending, but it was an ending where he didn't get turned into some hulking mass of mouths and organs and all sorts of horrible, disgusting things. As far as fates go, I would rather be left on an alien planet, left to go mad by myself, than turn into one of those horrible, mutated things. Okay, so there's actually 2 more endings that I've missed that I've had a quick look at on Steam, because the achievements on there will tell you which endings you've got, and I have not got these 2 locked achievements, so we're gonna go back in. Right, I think we're back at the decision point now. I think at this point we can either choose to go back to bed, we can go to the airlock and deal with it, or we can escape, and that's how you get the other 2 endings. So let's start off by going back to bed. Go back to sleep? Yes. The siren continued to make noises, reminding him of the danger, but Nick was desperately trying to fall asleep again. He just wanted to plunge into this dream world. With all his heart, he hated waking up in this place. It was only in dreams that he could find his peace. He didn't want to open his eyes anymore, even if it was all an illusion, just dreams. He wanted to stay in them forever. Nick persisted, hugging the pillow, just to be on that beach one more time, to see her one more time, escape from this technological prison. Gradually, the sounds began to fade. He started to feel his body floating. Perhaps the gravitational field has failed. The ship was breaking down more and more. It was getting hard to breathe. Suddenly, he was looking at his body floating in the middle of a room, and a blinding bright light appeared from a porthole. Nick turned towards the light and felt the incredible love and warmth that enveloped his whole body. He began to fly towards the light and left this ill-fated ship once and for all. Somewhere up ahead, he could hear the sound of waves. The end. Right. So that ending is the ship falls apart, and we either die from being in outer space, or maybe we get picked up by someone else. Right, so we're gonna go straight to the escape pod. As soon as Nick entered the escape pod, the ship's artificial intelligence spoke to him.
Nick, I can't let you go. You have to fix the ship.
The ship is doomed, let me out.
The primary importance is the safety of this ship. I can't fix the external damage. You have to do it.
I want to get off this damn ship.
I'm sorry. I can't let you do that.
Right, we are getting off this ship, my friend. So let's try this conversation again. The ship is doomed. And if I refuse?
Eventually, the damage will lead to the complete destruction of the ship.
But if the ship is destroyed, then I will die, right?
Absolutely. The chances of your survival in the event of the destruction of the ship are 0.
In that case, I need to use the escape pod. Access to the escape pod is unlocked. Yeah, we logicked it. Use the escape pod? Absolutely. We're going to get off the ship. We're not going to touch the meteorite. We're not going to go on the planet. This is clearly the best ending. For several years, his escape pod travelled through space. Oh shit. I thought we were just going to go straight to Earth. What is that? Until one day, along with other space debris, an extraterrestrial life form ship took it on board. These creatures, which looked like overgrown lizards, were greatly surprised by their find. Nick was equally surprised. Oh, Nick. After studying him a little, the aliens found a use for Nick. He, like other passengers of the ship, will not remain idle. Oh god, what are they making him do? So Nick became a slave. Oh great. He was sent to the mines on a planet unknown to him, where he performed a simple task of extracting a rare mineral. The aliens made spoons and other kitchen utensils from this mineral. Nick didn't know about that. Oh god, all he knew was that he had to dig, and if he didn't dig, he would be beaten and wouldn't be allowed to eat. Bastards! So Nick was digging. Click on the crystals to mine. All day long, practically non-stop, he was digging. He even began to find some sort of solace in his activities. The monotonous repetition of the same actions carried his thoughts away from his horrible place. At some point, Nick accepted his fate. As long as he was digging, everything was fine. He didn't have the energy or time to think about the position he was in. Nick began to worship these crystals. The guardian lizards became his food-giving gods. Nick no longer regretted his decision to leave the ship. He didn't think of Marie. He forgot about that day on the beach. He stopped dreaming altogether. Forgetting his past, he became a biological ore mining machine. However, the lizards were incapable of appreciating his hard work and resilience. He died of lung disease, and his remains were thrown into a cesspool with other bodies of dead slaves. The end. Oh, poor Nick. Surrounded by all these lizard dinosaur things. Worked to death. Well, that is it. Thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate your time. That is all the endings for 1,000 Mouths to Scream. A fantastic little visual novel from a really great developer. I've done a couple of videos on their other games. If you want to check them out, I'll link them in the description below. I'm really looking forward to any future projects that they have going on. If you'd like to support me further, then by all means like and subscribe, or maybe check out one of my other videos. But for now, that is all. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best. Bye bye.